Good morning, Meridian, and welcome to a Thursday edition of Business Buzz. We're here in July. Half the year is already over, and it's moving by quickly. But we're here today to bring you a new chamber member and someone that's been around the Valley for quite some time. Please welcome Jeff Heath with Business Interiors of Idaho. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So Business Interiors of Idaho recently joined the chamber, but they've been around for a long time. I had an opportunity to go down to their office and deliver their welcome packet and chat with them a little bit. And one of the things, Jeff, that I know many people have in their minds is that commercial furniture is something that, you got to plan, you got to prepare for, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Tell us a little bit about your process when it comes to helping a client with their office space needs.
Yeah, I think good question. I think there's kind of two ways that people think about it. Either A, they don't think about it at all when they're moving into a space, and it's considered at the last minute, and there are some substantial lead times. Or they do a lot of planning up front, which is great. But our main goal is to take care of a lot of that burden. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of timing and coordination, especially if it's focused around a tenant improvement, which could include a lot of construction, moving, and other pieces. So we have our whole proven process. You can find it on our website. I won't go into the whole details, but the whole idea is to lay out to our customers what the expectations are, what all the steps are, how we'll help walk you through the process and really simplify things so that you see the fun parts up front and we're dealing with all the heavy lifting in the back.
Well, Jeff, as I said, you're a new chamber member, but you've been here in the Valley for quite some time. Tell us a little bit about a history about Business Interiors of Idaho.
Yeah, so born and raised in Boise. My parents started the business about 36 years ago. I've been back in CEO for about the last 5. And so, yeah, we've got a long tenured history, and we've done projects with companies, hospitals, universities, schools, K through 12, the government all across the state, all of Southern Idaho, really, Boise, Meridian, Eagle, all the way out to Idaho Falls and as far north as Coeur d'Alene. So we've served the whole state. But with the expansion, we really needed to make sure that people knew about us and that we were embedded in supporting the business community and the chamber in Meridian as well. So we really wanted to kind of extend a hand and become a member.
Yeah. Jeff, you mentioned the expansion. Tell us a little bit about that. I think you've opened an office in Spokane, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So as everybody who's lived in Idaho their whole life kind of understands the challenges of the geography of Idaho. All the mountains that make it such a great place to live and recreate make it challenging logistically to deal with furniture and delivery and support across the whole state. And so we just opened a location in Spokane the beginning of the year in the middle of COVID, which is always fun, right? That's a fun challenge that we've all been dealing with, but recognize the need for growth. Spokane is very similar to Boise and Meridian in a lot of ways. And we really like the people up there. We like how they think. We like how they do business, and wanted a local presence so that we could better support Eastern Washington and that whole North Idaho region as well.
Yeah. Jeff, I've had the opportunity to look at some office redesigns over my career and things. One of the questions that I have for you is, for the longest time, they were trying to go to open spaces and be more collaborative and things like that. What has been the biggest change in office space that's been necessitated by COVID? And what do you recommend for your clients as they're now trying to bring people back in the office?
Well, I think as we all know, the biggest change is that the offices were empty. There was nobody there, which was challenging and interesting, and I think provoked and expedited a lot of trends in technology, which is good. I think and a lot of businesses were behind in the ways that they approached technology, the ways that they approached flexibility with their teams, and the ability to work in different spaces. We worked on a whole campus refresh with Blue Cross of Idaho, and I was talking to their facilities person in the middle of COVID. And during the first part of our remodel that had started before COVID, there was this whole push to where are we going to put everybody? We need temporary offices. We need temporary space. We need temporary workstations to set them up as we're doing this construction and these improvements on the building. And they, just like everybody else, moved their whole staff completely remote. And so I think it shows that things like that are possible, that people can work remote, that, we can keep our businesses moving forward. We can have more distributed workforces. In terms of the dividers and the workstations, we had a lot of people who wanted to see options and wanted to see separation for that comfort, but we saw very few people actually pull the trigger on making decisions around moving towards higher panels or more division. I think a lot of it was cost. A lot of it was people didn't know what the outcomes would be. I think a lot of people just waited for either, herd immunity or vaccinations. And largely what we're seeing is people moving back to, standard trends that existed before, but with, whether it be private offices, open offices, or, higher divided cubicles. I think the conversation is more dependent on the type of work that individuals are doing or that a business is doing than just an overall trend. Different departments work differently, different individuals work differently, and really each person and group has unique needs to the kind of work they're doing. And that's a lot of what we do during the discovery and design phase is, how do these people work together? How do they interrelate day to day? How do they connect? How do they brainstorm? And there's been a lot more focus on how do we bring in technology so we can do more things like this, right? Where, maybe half the people in a meeting are in a conference room, the other half are in an office or a remote office or in their home office. So we're seeing a lot more blends like that and furniture that supports technology and more of those integrations. So I'd say that's the biggest change is more reliance and integration of technology to support the work we're doing and more flexibility for employees and employers.
Well, I know everyone's eager to get back to their offices and interact with their colleagues and things. Maybe the change is just going to be you're going to have a little bit more space. You're not going to have the smaller cubicle space going forward. With that, you've shared with us some great designs. I want to kind of throw those up on the screen and have you talk about them a little bit because, the office is no longer the big metal desk or brown desk and, facing a wall type of deal. You've got some great designs here. So I want to put these up and you can maybe tell us about who these are and some of the ideas behind the concepts.
Absolutely.
So this was one that you'd sent to us. It's called Wheelhouse. Who's this?
So interesting thing is, we're right downtown Boise on Capitol and Grove, and our upstairs of our building, my parents built this building in 91, and the upstairs was largely underutilized. So this is kind of an entity that we've helped build out that's a co-working space. It has a few private offices and several individual desks that can be rented out on a monthly basis, no long-term rentals. And we've changed it several times, which is the great thing about modular furniture, added rooms, moved workstations. But that's really a co-working space because we wanted to create more energy in downtown Boise throughout the valley and provide landing places for people who might not have an office or are looking to get back out of their home office and have adjacency to other businesses.
So these walls, these glass walls, you can basically put up in any type of structure?
Exactly. Yeah. So they can be freestanding. They can connect to an acoustic grid as shown as in there. So actually now there's a whole nother meeting room that's immediately to the left of that office that we moved from a different part of the building and only had to order a couple of additional parts. So it's really flexible and really great for having dynamic environments.
Okay. So you don't have to tear down walls or build walls. You just have a big open space.
Exactly. Right. And then we're dealing with one trade rather than, the 5 that are associated with drywall and electrical and glazing and all those other pieces.
So this one is called Trademark Design.
Yeah. So this is Trademark Design. We've worked with them on quite a few things. They've helped us with some of our branding and signing and branding our trucks. They're graphic design. They do a lot of work with Tree Fort as well. And so a lot of creatives there. And as I mentioned, with kind of the support for different kinds of activities, they do a lot of sharing of ideas, sharing of visual concepts. So they're a much more open environment. They do have that visual separation down the spine of that work surface there, but they wanted something that was light and open and really collaborative in nature.
Okay. This one looks really cool. It's Tandem.
Yeah, so Tandem Diabetes, they're a company who moved up right before COVID. They made a lot of news. They moved into the old Kmart building that had been a variety of different things down off of River. And they did a great job retrofitting the space, reactivating the space. And it's a customer support center for the product that they make, which are insulin pumps. And so a lot of highly educated people who, if anybody's having a challenge with their insulin pump, they can obviously be very nervous or concerned with their health. And so they've got a great staff that can help kind of get them on track and make sure the product is working the right way and that they're healthy and living the best life they can. So that's what exists there, and a little bit different use. I mean, there's a lot of conference rooms in that space, a lot of open collaborative spaces. They've got a great cafeteria and break space, but this is kind of the main bulk of the workspace there.
Okay. And this next one, Micron, just really sleek looking designs, really nice looking.
Yeah, so this is an older project we've done with them, and their design continues to change and iterate and improve. But yeah, their main campus out there, and we've worked with them a lot to, once again, address a lot of the trends that we're facing now. How do they integrate technology? How do they communicate with their partners around the world or the locations around the world? Very engineer focused company and team. So a lot of privacy is important, but still a lot of that collaboration and communication so they can problem solve a lot of the development and technology problems that they're resolving.
Okay. And we have Kestrel West here. It looks a little bit more traditional office space, but just some great looking design.
Yeah, so they are down at the State House a lot. They work with our legislators and they host a lot of people in their space. It's a 2-person team. So they wanted something that was kind of recognizable as traditional, but more modern in style. And so kind of created a work environment for them that was less sit-down, desk-oriented, but more collaborative and kind of loungy feeling.
Okay. And our last one here is called Fresca. Definitely, your office space, behind a desk, 2 chairs, but very clean looking.
Yeah, great company. So they manufacture tortillas, a food-based company out in Caldwell. And this was a really fun project. We worked with some of our partners at Design Vim. They did a lot of the material selection and some of the other interior design. But I think in terms of a more traditional company, in terms of manufacturing, right? People don't think of them as progressive, essentially, but did some really creative, fun things, utilized a lot of our glass modular walls to bring daylight through the space and just really enhance the feel for their team out there. Yeah, that was a really great project.
So, Jeff, how does someone go about contacting you to find out what they can do with their office space?
So our website is usually the best. We've got a great contact form on that. You can take a look through a whole bunch of our projects, the services we offer, what our process looks like. We try and provide a lot of content in there so that people understand, what it's like to work with us, who we are, what we stand for as a team. Our core values and our focus to community is really important to us. So you can see a lot of that in there. But clicking on that contact us is great. Also, our phone number is in there. So a call or email through the contact is fantastic.
Well, Jeff, I can't wait till we can redesign the chamber offices and give you a call to update our space here. So thank you so much for being with us today. And we appreciate you becoming a chamber member.
Absolutely. We'd love to help you out. Maybe we can get some stuff donated for you.
All right. Excellent. Well, Jeff, thank you. And you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You too. Bye.
All right. Thanks. So thank you for joining us today. We have a full week scheduled of 2 episodes next week of Business Buzz. So be sure and join us next Tuesday at 10 a.m. for the Meridian Chamber of Commerce Business Buzz program. Thank you and have a good week.